Is that mine or is that mine? That's mine. Oops.
Okay, so if you click on that blue.
This one?
Yeah, click on that for me. Okay, close that for me. Okay, click on next. Okay, so then in the student view, the preview, good. Okay, so then there's a way to make it, you have to make sure that it's accessible to all groups of students. So you have to, when the time log has not been sent out in their binders yet, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's not going out in their binders, it's going out in, is that the form or is that the one for the binders? Time log, okay, you're in the right spot.
Okay, good.
Sorry guys, okay, so if you click that finish for me.
Finish over here.
So you just created it. Okay, so now go to the one that you just created.
And I just named it copy so that I would know that this is one that I did. So
Perfect.
Copy.
Yeah, perfect. So you see how all of those things are listed right there, how it says ag, prep,
Yeah.
ag business. So that tells you whatever courses the student is currently in for their major.
Yeah.
To be able to have the students access that, their major needs to be listed. So that's where the dual candidates, where I had some problems with the duals.
Oh, okay.
Both special ed and multiple subject on there to make it active.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so then when a student logs in, they should be able to access it now. So if you played around with it, it's because it is active, they should be able to access it now under time logs, because it's not going to be going under their portfolios or their the binders.
Okay.
So they access it through the time log section of TK20, not the binder section.
Okay.
So if you flip it, and then if you're trying to view it as you, because you don't have a major, if you're going in and doing the student view, you wouldn't be able to see it. So you've got to find a username and a student password and kind of just mimic that.
Okay, I'm going to try that right now.
And then it should hopefully pop up for that student.
Okay. And I couldn't do it yesterday because they weren't in the system yet yesterday.
Correct. Yeah, you cannot do anything on the side of TK20 without that data load. Yeah, you can't see anything. You can see old time logs if they're still active, but you won't be able to see the new ones.
And I have a
okay, I did.
How often do we do the data loading?
At the beginning of the semester, you need to do it at least, because placements change, classes change. You have all of these things that happen at the beginning of the semester because there's so much movement within the program that you need to be doing it at least every 24 to 48 hours because there is so much movement. When kids are dropping, kids are adding, you've got all of the credential, I'm now taking student teaching here. Like all of those things happen within the first couple weeks of the semester. So you guys are already in what week of the semester? The third week?
Third week.
Third week? Okay, so how far are they on placements? Are placements pretty solidified and ready to go, or?
All I think except for one.
What is it?
All except for one.
Everybody's placed and good?
But have they been the new section? Because that's part of what we get from PeopleSoft, right?
Correct. So when they change, well, what happens is when we assign them the coaches and they're put into their sections with coaches, you need to make sure that data load happens after that as well, because along with that comes the new section codes, comes the new coaches, comes the assignments of the binders, comes the other things that go along with it. So yes, it's very imperative that after placements are done, classes are created, coaches are assigned, that yes, that data load does happen. If not, Pawn, you're gonna you're gonna all you're going to be pulling your hair out because everybody's going to be in so many different classes. It's going to be frustrating.
But Andrea, speaking of, did you ever talk to her about automating?
I can barely hear. Go ahead.
Did you ever talk to Pon about the possibility of automating that process, or does the load have to be?
Well, the only thing about automating that process is that there's a transcript option with TK20, and that transcript option has to be turned off until the end of the semester.
Oh.
If the transcript option is turned on at the beginning of the semester, then it messes with everybody's schedule because it lists every single class they were ever registered in.
Oh.
So that's the only reason why it's not automated just yet. If there's a possibility to run the automation without the transcript, then you're fine. So that's something you can ask Pon if that option is still available.
Okay.
But when we were initially doing that, that option was not available.
So that's why. So when you run it manually, it just does it for this semester, or you ask it just to do for
Well, yeah, if you run it manually, you have the option to turn the transcript on or off.
Laura, so
And
is that what you did, Laura?
the transcript has to be off until the end of the semester.
I turned it off.
Yeah.
You had to explain that to me.
It's one of my like big red don't do's.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And I did not. I did do it at the end of the semester, but I didn't do it this time.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I tried the time log on a student, and it's there, and I was able to fill it out, and it was with my changes and everything.
Perfect. And then one thing to realize is if you have a student that contacts you that says, I can't access my time log, it's probably because their major is not listed on that list. It should have everybody. There shouldn't be a problem with it. But there are still ones that come in with random majors into the credential program that we weren't quite too sure until it got changed over to the credential student. So that's one of the things with the time logs, that it has to have their major code in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question, Andrea. So if that's the case, how do we add so we add their major code?
No, that all comes from PapleSoft. Don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Don't touch that at all. So what happens is that when that transfer comes over, and if the student's major code has been changed in PeopleSoft, it will get changed in TK20.
Okay.
If they're coming in, like sometimes we have ones that come in with random stuff that has nothing to do with the teaching profession, that's when it throws a loop for the time logs. And then you can add that to the program when you update it on the time log. So that's no big deal. It's just usually if you have a problem, it's because that major code is not listed. And that can be added in TK20, or when their major gets switched over in the PeopleSoft database, it'll get switched over in the TK20 database.
So let me try to understand. If, for example, if we have a problem with that student or a few students, the next time when we do the data load with the update major codes from those students, it will just fix the problem.
It'll fix itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as it has been done.
We lost you for a second, Andrea.
Okay.
Can you repeat what you just said?
Okay, yeah, just don't, when you're in TK20, you have to remember that all the data you're collecting is in PeopleSoft, right? And we're putting it into TK20. If you change anything on the TK20 side, it's not going to change the PeopleSoft side.
Yeah.
So you have to remember where everything's originating from is what's going to drift into TK20. So if you want major changes, like their major account changed, or if there's, classroom changes, anything, courses, anything like that happens in PeopleSoft first and then gets brought into TK20, because then when you run your data and you're looking at, comparative to the PeopleSoft database in TK20, you'll start seeing discrepancies if you're not pulling it in.
Which we will then see, it'll show up on our error file.
Correct. Your error file, your error file, what that'll show is if there is a problem with a student number not matching, or a data field was missing, or something to the extent that it's not following along with how we coded it on the back end. If there shouldn't be any major data errors, right? There's not any error files, Laura, that are showing up. Okay, because I think the way that Pon brought it in, we shouldn't have any major red flags happening unless the PeopleSoft side, unless you guys add another field. If you guys add something to your PeopleSoft side, you got to tell Pon if you want it pulled into TK20 to run the report.
Okay.
So if you do change anything on your database side, whatever's dragged in from there, you have to make sure that you let Con know, because then that messes with how she does the file upload gets in.
Okay.
Okay. If she's still there. I think
She better be. Oh my gosh. That made me cry. I love that lady. Okay, next. She's awesome.
Okay, can you still see my screen?
I sure can, ma'am.
Okay, so Kathy created all these in the spring. So I'm assuming this is something you did before you left. So I didn't have to do it when I did it last fall, but now we have to do this fall. But I don't know what this is.
Okay, so what that is the bulk placement.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
and
so
then we get that report from Brenna.
yeah, because what you're gonna need is to send the binders out. You can do, well, if you click on one of the files, you should be able to open and see what the file.
Yeah, and I did, and I mimicked it, but I'm not really sure why I'm putting what I'm putting in there. Yeah.
Okay, so what you're putting in there is you're actually putting the placement information, and click on one of them, and it'll be easier for me to kind of. It's gonna show up all wonky, and it's gonna be pipe delineated, yada yada yada. But I'll show you what it looks like. It's no big deal.
Well, it looked pretty.
Did it show up as an Excel and then
Yeah.
show up as, okay.
Yeah, it did.
So
here it is.
yeah, so what TK20 does, so pull that up for me and I'll show you. So the first time you do this, Laura, if you're gonna do the upload on this, I'll guarantee you're gonna get frustrated because you're gonna have all kinds of errors, and that's normal. Just get the first time I did it, I think you had like 2 to go through.
Okay.
More than 2, you're winning.
But am I copying and pasting it from Brenna's data into here?
No. Okay. So
Okay.
let's see. Why is that mic old?
I know. I don't know.
Okay. So do me a favor. Pull the file up. Show that Excel file for me.
You don't see it?
No. You got to put it on your other screen.
No, we don't see.
You're only sharing one screen.
Oh, we see.
Yeah, I put it in front of the other screen.
We don't see.
You don't see it? Huh.
No. Okay. So
Okay.
the way that works
Okay,
is
let me share.
Screen probably
Okay.
have to stop sharing this and go.
Oh, and then go to the other one?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now you see it?
yes. Okay.
Okay.
So what this is you can, what you'll do is you'll put the student, anything that isn't a star, you have to have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it's not a star, don't put it in there.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen with TK20 on the back end, this is allowing you to send out your binders. This is allowing you to do your placements in the field placement piece of TK20. This is allowing a lot of things to happen. And what it does first is it searches by student ID number.
Okay.
If there's a student, say that you spell Trevor's last name wrong, but he has a student ID, it's going to give you 2 Trevors, one with right spelled name, one with the wrong spelled name. So what I recommend is you maintain and stay with just ID numbers.
Okay.
Okay, because if there's a misspelling in any manner, it's gonna create 2 people, and you don't need 2 people in there. Because you'll send
I don't need to put in the first name, last name.
No,
Okay.
I say take it off. You don't need to put that in there.
Okay.
Take off unless if you know the section numbers, because you've already had the coaches assigned and the courses are already created, you can have those in there. It'll make your life a little easier.
Okay.
Because what that's going to do is going to take that ID, assign it to the coach first name and last name, and then match it to the section number. So first and last name for the coaches you have to have. When you do it, double check that their username, like Sue Van Doren, does she have a space in between her last name and her in between Van and the Doren? and make sure that her TK20 account has that, because you don't want to, it'll throw an error.
Okay.
Okay, that one won't create a new user. It's just with the students will create a new user. It's with the coaches, it'll just like throw errors like crazy if it's not spelled exact.
Okay.
Coaches ID, that's the same thing you're pulling from PeopleSoft. Nothing's changed. The coach, the university coach 2, those are always test and test or test and coach. Reason being that if the student needs a different coach or somebody else needs access to those binders, that's your placeholder.
Okay.
So you have to have that in there.
Okay.
And you can get this Excel file from the batch upload or from the bulk upload on there. And within that bulk upload, you can either pull some of this information from TK20, or you can, but I can show you on the back end on that one. People are probably like, move on. So I can totally show you how to do that on the other end, but like first name, last name, the things you have to pay attention to is anything with a star. If it doesn't have a star, you're going to get red flags like crazy.
Okay.
So anything with a star is a must. And I say keep it as basic as possible.
I was going to say, and don't even bother with the other ones then.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, if you don't have to have it on that bulk upload, don't put it on there. Because once that thing runs and you have 500 students and you go, uh-oh, I put the wrong thing in, you are now going into every single one of those binders and fixing it.
No, thank you.
No, I did it one time. I'm not doing it again. No.
Okay, so then once we do this, then how do we upload it?
You're going to go to the batch upload, the bulk upload on TK20.
Bulk placement? No. In administration? Data form uploads? No.
No, I would go back. Hold on. Field experience. Field experience. Placements. And I think bulk placements.
That's where I was.
And there should be okay, create new bulk. So you're going to click that green.
Oh, okay. I did go through this.
Right. And so you always have a user that is signed a PID, because that's their ID number. You do not want to create more than one.
And that's what we checked too.
Right. Okay. So before you do that, on that, you see that select placement template?
Mm-hmm.
You have to design the binders based on those placement templates.
Okay.
So if we're not doing university coach, 2 of them, mentor teacher coach, 2 of them, and then a double score partner, which is usually held for fast, you're going to find yourself in trouble too. So you've got to find the one that fits with the binders that we created. So first we got to look at the binders before you do this to make sure that you have a university coach on the binder, you have a mentor teacher on the binder, and you have either, if you're going to do 2 mentor teachers or whatever, because that's going to build your template. So if you click on one of those, just click on it. Okay. And then if you click that blue link on the very top, it says download placement template. And that will download the template that you need to fill out. So the template is based off the binders.
Oh, it's blank right now.
Exactly. So that's how you get the Excel spreadsheet you need to upload on the back end. And then you're going to upload it under that select file. So before you do this, you got to make sure that your binders are aligned with your templates. And then you can do the bulk upload. So hold on to that bulk upload until you absolutely have everything ready to go.
Is anybody else getting this?
Okay, so it sounds like for different placement templates and different purposes, there are going to be different binder templates.
There should be.
Because
if nothing was changed last year, I don't know what last year looks like or last semester. So we have to go back and look at binders. So if we want to do it like similar to what I was sending out, where it was single subject gets their own, multiple subject gets their own, SPED gets their own, then we need to go back. I don't know whatever, there's not, as we all know, there's not a one size fits all.
Right.
And
As far as I know, that's still the same.
yeah, never in credentialing, there's a one size fits all.
Okay, so if I'm looking at course numbers, for example, so I'm looking at the course numbers, these are bulk placements, but so are these their binders for the, what, I don't know what these binders are for. So the Lee 160 is a course.
Correct. And if it was the IPOP courses, is Lee 160 the IPOP?
Yeah. So they had a
yeah, it was IPOP.
Okay, so IPOP is different. IPOP
Right.
had their own binder.
not
And IPOP, yeah, because IPOP, they were actually creating their,
videos.
yeah, all of that was being uploaded for IPOP. So IPOP, so hey, Laura, do you have access to all those binders?
Yeah.
Okay, so go to the binders for me.
Nope.
I think it's administrate. Oh wait, yeah, is it admin and then?
Well, here's the actual binders,
Okay, so it looks like
right?
those are the IPOP. So it looked like what we wanted for these binders right now are like the 178, 110B, the 170, 160. Those are the binders we really need to go out, right? Because I don't know what they're doing with their classes. Like the IPOP, I don't know what they want for their IPOP.
And that's their deal.
Okay, so however, whatever IPOP wants, if they want to mirror what they did last semester, you got it built, and it can go out when that's ready.
Okay, so we don't, if we look at the binders now, like the 178, 110D, multiple subject. Okay, if we look at that binder, then that's what we want to know, whether it's set up the way we want it. Is that true?
And if not, where do we change it?
Right.
Okay, so you have a couple options. The binders, the way I think about them is the binders hold all the information, hold all the forms that we've created. So you could technically go in and create your own brand new stinking binder if you wanted to.
But we don't want to.
So, how do I do that? Where do I push the button? Well, before I get there, I'm going to tell you this. The forms are what are holding your data. That you cannot change. How things are arranged and how things are done in the binders, you can change all you want. Okay, so
Like, let's say I wanted to take this off.
Okay, so go down to, just humor me 1 second and click on that, and the admin tab for me. I just want to make sure, I just want to look at something really quick. Click on that, the administration tab, yeah. And then click on, no, form builders where all our forms are. Please don't change those because that's what's collecting the data.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the data is collected on the back end. Okay, scroll down for me, please, Laura. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so go into field experience and then click on templates. Okay.
That's when I did.
Well, you had the template library, and that's where all of them are housed, so you can copy it over to your template if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I did, so I could screw it up without messing anything up.
Yeah. You're all good with that. So that's where you would create that if you wanted to. Click on portfolios for me 1 second. I just want to check something. Click on templates. Because that's all fast. Okay, so that stayed the same. Okay, so field experience again. And I'm trying to find, click field templates. And then when you copy it over, so you find the one that you kind of like.
Yeah, and I copied it over.
Copied it over, you should be able to click on it. Yes, that's what we want. Okay, so that's the screen where you can edit and change everything. So this is where you can, like, when you're naming your binders, you want to name them by year and semester.
Right.
So like 2019 fall. And the reason you're doing that is because you're not going to mess up any of the data that you're collecting on the back end, because you're collecting it through the form. You're not collecting it through the binder. The binder is just holding the paper.
You want to distinguish between multiple subject, single subject, and SPED in addition to those dates?
Yeah, so that's how you name it. So like this one has single subject 155A,
Okay.
student teaching.
Yeah.
Correct. And so where it says the template name on there, then you would change that to fall 2019, spring 2019. And then that in it itself helps the students because they always have access to these binders.
So
And so the name doesn't matter. You can change that all you want.
Can I go back and ask a really basic elementary question?
Okay, yell at me because I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Just because I. Oops. Do you want to mute yours?
Back.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
I think I muted mine.
You have two speakers on?
Okay. So I tried again. Nope. Yours is still there.
Okay.
So you need talking to
Okay. Can you hear us now?
Okay, yeah, just turn Renee my way so I can hear.
Yeah. And I have on
Yeah,
maximum.
so just because I haven't really worked with binders, I want to make sure I get it. So ideally, for every field placement class, for every semester, there is one binder, and then all students basically load things into that binder, or does each student have a binder?
Each student has a binder, but it's the same template for every student. Is that right?
Except every student depending on credential. So like the way we set it up is dependent on what special ed needed, dependent on what single subject needed, dependent on what multiple subject needed.
See, here's all your choices.
So there's a general binder. There's a general binder for a particular program and a particular field experience, right? And then that binder that template for the binder gets sent out to all of the students
That are
so
in that particular.
And so each student has their own binder that they can put stuff in.
So
Yep.
do we have each binder with the same template for each program right now? That has been the problem.
Well, what was done in the spring for the observation, so the field placement, is that the same binder was sent out to all programs, which is part of the problem. We don't want the same binder to all programs. We want
by
a
program.
special, and I whatever just that program needs should be sent out to just those students. So there should be a single subject binder, there should be a multiple subject binder, and it should be, are they different for
each field placement
and
class?
are they different by like 178 and 170, or do they have the same one for that?
No, they were different by 178 and 170. So finals and initials were a little different because we were actually tying in the, we added some of the workshops we used to do at the beginning of the semester, Janine.
Oh, yeah.
We added those in there. So if that's not, I mean, are the requirements the same 6 observations for both 70 and 178? Are they still the same?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and then, so you probably can do one multiple subject binder for everybody that's in multiple subjects. But the only thing is, are we having them turn in mandated reporters or anything like that? Is that done prior to credential admissions now, or is that?
It's not for multiple subject or SPED, just single subject.
Okay, so for multiple subject or SPED, that was a task for them to upload the mandated reporter as well as an online system to complete. But we had them doing it, I believe, both semesters because it had to be valid within a year. So there was 2 different online trainings. There was the first one for the 178 and then the refresher for the 170. But it's truly up to you how you want to do that. If you wanted to have one from 178 and 170 like we did, you can. But if you're not worried about the mandated reporter or you're not worried about some additional, if there's anything different in the 2, then that's where you're going to find yourself a problem. If they're operating pretty much the same and all you're collecting is observation data.
Is it difficult though then if they are all getting the same binder, if we go back in to look at their particular submissions? If they have the same binder for 178 and 170, can we actually tell which one is which?
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell, but based on course, because they're assigned a course, and once that course goes out, then the binder's assigned. So you can tell. You can tell on the back end as to what course they're in, if that's what you're looking for.
If I'm going in, for example, if I go into search, I mean, I know that I do. I don't know how the observation binders work. I know with FAST, when I go into search for their document or, you know, for their artifacts and whatever they've uploaded, it's helpful to have it labeled so that I know which is what's what.
Oh yeah, and you can totally do that too. If you wanted to, if you created a template and said, this one's going out to 178s only, but it looks similar to 170, it will save you time on the back end, and when you can label it different.
You just label, okay.
You can do that. Yeah, but you just have to be careful on who you're sending it to when you send it out. But yes, you can totally do that, and you're going to send it out by course.
And you're sending it out by course.
So conceivably, within the credential program, a candidate could have one binder that would stay with them through all phases? And you would...
Well, technically you could, but it would be a nightmare on submitting them at the end of the semester.
Yeah, because they submitted it at the end of the semester.
Marie's on the call upstairs with Trey.
It's better
Oh, she's
Anna said that she's goes to Maria.
because the other thing is that they sometimes go in and out. Right.
I don't see Maria.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes they will take a semester off for a reason or other things. And so if they have, it probably is easier if we can do it by semester.
My semester is easier as well because that submission finalizes that binder and the student can't edit anymore. So as long as they click that submit button on that binder, they can no longer edit. So if you're going through the entire year of their student teaching, you might find somebody trying to finagle the system. Like I turned that in, you know what I mean? So it might be easier if you do it by semester. And pulling the data, it's a little bit easier to do it by semester too.
Well,
depends on the program.
Depends on the program.
Yeah.
First semester.
for field experience, both programs, both single subject, multiple subject have 2.
Mm-hmm.
And special ed, they also have
Special ed 3, because special ed had their initial student teaching in multiple subject, and then they had their final 2.
right, because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 to
General ed.
3 semester.
Andrea,
Yes.
I was trying to send a student the binder.
Potentially.
Okay.
So I selected the template, which was
Correct.
the one I created.
Correct.
And then I selected the course,
Correct.
which was 155. And then I go to select the students. There's no one
Nobody in
there.
yet.
But when I pull it up,
Are we still have everybody under the same umbrella class, the first 155A or whatever?
Have they changed to their coaches?
Yeah.
They should have. So the 155A should be in the rosters of their coaches.
It should be in the rosters of their coaches?
yeah, I have the students' TK20 account pulled up, and it shows on there that she's with Lynn Lindman. So that's what I chose.
Okay.
Okay.
Section 2, Lynn Lindman for fall. 155A, it shows on her screen, the student screen.
Okay, click the next for me. Okay, we gotta go check section number and stuff like that too. So you're going to,
If it's 155A, he may only have 1 student. So let me.
It's that student should still pop up. So Laura, did you make it active? Your binder is active?
Let's
double check.
Sure, it's active.
Okay, let's just double check.
It's not there, so. Okay.
Lynn has 3. Based on this document.
And it showed up on hers. Is this public?
The public, all that matters is any other UA can see it. It doesn't matter to anybody else. Is the student enrolled in, hold on.
Where do I do active? Is it the last one?
Right,
I think it's the last one.
Okay.
Here. Is it active? Yes.
Okay. Go back to define the assessors. I just want to see who your assessors are, just to make sure it's the same. Okay. Click on the university coach link. What is those? Are they new forms for single subject?
Yes, a lot of the forms in single subject change.
A lot of the forms are new?
Yeah, well,
okay. So
the midterm and the final are new.
Okay.
And the observation forms are different.
Okay, all right. The observation form is new too?
Yeah, a little different, modified, I guess.
Is it different on TK20 like collected data last semester, or different not at all collected anything?
I'll have to check. I don't know.
Okay. So Laura, we'll go back and get out of there, scroll all the way down. All I wanted to see is if it was turned on, because sometimes if there's a note in there, it'll throw it off. So Janine, are those the forms? We'll worry about that later. Okay, go ahead and click the next one.
University Coach 1. Go mid.
We'll take a look at the forms. So you don't want additional, okay, go ahead.
We had a midterm and a final that now has rubrics attached to it. Okay, but we were not doing the create rubrics, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Did you guys revert back to what Emmy and I created for the first one? Do you know?
No, it was created last January. Before the last spring semester. We weren't doing create, and yet they were doing mid-semester and final with rubrics.
Okay.
That makes sense.
We'll take a look at that form in a minute. But Laura, when you go to assign forms on that last one where you look at that list, that's when a form is created and added to a binder. It automatically populates on that list. So if there's a change or an edit,
they were in there last semester, though.
Were they in there last semester? Okay.
In there last semester.
But it was along with everything else.
What happened, Andrea, is they took everything from multiple subject, and then they had everything in single subject added on to the end. So the thing was like 6 pages long that you had to scroll down to get to single subject.
And did it have a bunch of red flags on it too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they still do.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Lots of red flags.
Yeah, so
Lots of them.
You had some pretty grumpy coaches then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
when they tried to submit it, they couldn't.
They can't. You can't. Oh, my stars. Okay. Okay, no worries. I can see how that would piss them off, because I would be pissed off if I had to open those too.
And
why do you think we're calling you? We had
then multiple subjects flags too, and Kathy told them at the last meeting that they didn't have to do anything with them and that she would take care of it this summer.
You
so
can't.
I don't know if anything was submitted officially, so I don't know what that means in terms of our data.
The data will still be there. The data on the back end, it's still collecting data even if that binder's not submitted.
Okay.
Just going to what will end up happening on the back end when you run your data reports, it'll just say unsubmitted or not finished. If you're aware of what happened, then you'll be okay.
all of them will say that.
Because there
Yeah,
was-
it will, and it's okay. I mean, it's not going to mess with any of your data if you're, because they're not going to look for the finalization of that anyways. You're still collecting it on the back end. So there should not be any problems with the data on the back end, but if I don't think there should be anything, because it's live. When that data starts, it's on there. So I don't think there'll be any problems, but if we run a report and we see problems, then we can.
So to clarify, the forms haven't really changed since last semester. They're in there. They're just
Okay.
in one binder.
Okay.
A really, really
Okay.
long binder that we want to cut.
Yeah, that's why the one size fits all doesn't work so hot.
It didn't work.
Okay, no worries. And that would just make everybody really pissy.
They,
So I get it.
That's about it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Really, really angry, and it wasn't so much, you know, the point is you couldn't get to them. You had to scroll, and then you have all these little acronyms, and so to find.
But if we stick with the templates that are here, this templates library, we should be okay then, right?
You're gonna have to double check your forms.
Okay.
Because if your template library where they did the initial binder, what I would suggest is I would look back at the ones that I initially created. If you can get access, I think the single subject 155B.
A lot of the forms, well, I don't know. I'll see.
That's okay. It's all good. We can totally work with it. It's no big deal. Okay, so do you see Laura? You remember that time log question you had for me?
Yeah,
Where do you change the program and organization is here?
it's here.
It's here. So when you go in and you find the time log that you activated, because you're activating the time log form, if you need to go add a kid or if you need to add a major, you need to add something random in there, you can do that through here.
So there's mine because I put the LR so I would know I did that one.
Right, exactly. So if you click on that and scroll down just a little bit, you're now going to see organization, and you'll see your instances are fine, because what that is that it creates one form that houses data for IPOP, AB, everybody in one spot.
Okay.
So the instances are a good thing at TK20, or you would have like 10,000 forms. It would be ridiculously unmanageable. So if you want to come in and add an organization, add a student, if you notice somebody's starting to have problems, this is where you can fix it.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how you would fix a time log if a student said they can't have access to it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then if we do I don't know where to go, guys. Ask me questions because I got all kinds of things in my head.
Well, I want to know how we make the user groups. So in
the
here,
user groups
here,
right?
because this is what you created for fall 18 that I used, and then Kathy, I guess, did spring 19, but now we have to do fall 19, but I don't know how.
Okay, no worries. So you have a couple options. If you scroll all the way up to the top, click on that create new. And once your students are uploaded, you name it the year that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would name it this year, so that way you know you have your user group. And it only needs to be active to you, so UA, because you're the only one that needs to see it. Nobody else needs to see this. Click the plus button right there. And filter. And we always filtered all the way down to the bottom by ID. And then remember that Excel spreadsheet that you're making with all those IDs on it?
Yeah.
Copy and paste it right into that blank spot.
Oh.
Okay.
So that Excel spreadsheet will lead into your user groups, and it also leads into your binders, and it also leads into your courses. So that's why that Excel spreadsheet is so important. And if you want, you can run it through PeopleSoft on the back end to get the IDs of students, everybody that's in the subject, you can do that. Or there's also the forms or the reports in TK20 that you can run. I don't remember the numbers, so we'd have to look at it. But you can run the data as in who's enrolled in all 155A, and then you can pull those IDs from there as well. So it's wherever you want to get from, that's where you can do.
How do I get rid of these old ones without deleting?
Don't get rid of them. Don't.
No, but without deleting them, shouldn't I be able to
You
put
can
them?
file them if the file will show up. Sometimes it doesn't allow it on the user end. So on the user group, sometimes it doesn't let you.
Hey, we try to regroup them, kind of put all the maybe old ones or the stuff like
Yeah, I mean, you can filter by type and you can filter by day created. So if you wanted to, you could just click that arrow on,
yeah.
click on right there on the date, and then it'll put your most recent on top.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and I would one rule of thumb in TK20 is don't delete it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Share drive. We have questions.
Hold on, Trang, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, kind of maximize that.
Are you guys doing applications on TK20 or no?
Not the internship, but the other ones, right?
I can.
Single subject field placements are not on TK20, just multiple subjects.
And I guess they weren't before either because they're not here. Do not use this one.
They were the last ones to jump on with the application process.
Was that the question? Are field placement applications?
But these are all locked.
Yeah,
because I'm on the wrong.
They're live. You can click.
I have it here. I think.
And then scroll down.
Yeah.
And you see those dates?
Yeah, they're past.
Yeah.
So I added this new date.
Okay.
And then I tried to pull it up on a student, but it wasn't there.
Was it a student that was enrolled in the 178 option? Is it live to everyone?
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, so it just depends on what organization the student's in as to how accessible it is. If the application was always a little finicky, so I always had to play around with it. But we got it to work, but we just had to kind of manipulate it a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I pulled up a single subject student. Of course, they're not going to have access to EHT 17.
No. It's all good. And if you scroll down a little bit on that one, I'm trying to see if you can allow the okay, see how that organization is there? So if you want everybody and their mom to see that application, you can add everybody in there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, if you wanted it live to everybody, you can make it live.
Or could I just do that if it's a single subject one?
The only problem, what I used to do is I made it live to everybody because you never knew what that applicant was going to come in with.
Right.
And you never knew how that was going to work out, and if they were using TK20 side of it to where they were just not a problem. But when they started going into their field work, you never knew what they were going to come in with you with.
Yeah.
They just let them pick which one they wanted, because it created a lot of inbox emails for me when that was going on. So it's just dependent on how you want it to operate.
Okay.
So is everybody on info overload?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have some more questions here.
Okay, go for it.
So the first one seemed like we already asked. Updated time log to show the student. Yeah, right. Okay. Do we still do the survey? Like how do we use the data? And the second question is the difference between the survey and form.
So are you talking about the predisposition survey, or what survey are you talking about?
Yeah.
Laura, that's Laura's question.
Andrea, you had given me the PeopleSoft upload, something PeopleSoft that I was supposed to upload a survey, and I never did that because I wasn't sure what it
yeah,
was.
pre and post disposition, and yes,
Yeah, that one.
that data, and that data culminates with the FAST when we were running the FAST report, and then that data also goes along with the accreditation process when they're looking for what they're looking for with that. So yes, we still both of those.
I didn't do it last fall. I don't know if Kathy did it either.
You can upload it right now. It wouldn't make any difference because
Okay.
it's going to go into students' older accounts anyway. So it would just be tied to that ID again.
And what is it?
What is it and why am I doing it? Okay.
So is it the predisposition survey? But we also had, remember, Andrea, we also had to do something with getting their language.
Right. And that, I think we built into that, right? Did we build that into that?
I don't remember. But
Okay, well, let's take a look, Laura. Let's take a look.
Okay.
You can go to the portfolios for me. I just want to see how it's built into the FAST. Click on one of them. The sample.
This survey is built into the fieldwork, I think.
Did we build it into fieldwork?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's in FAST.
Okay. Go, Laura, if you go to administration and go to the form. Sorry, I have you bouncing all over the place. Go to the form builder. Let's pick which one we were going to use, and I can tell you where it's at.
Disposition survey?
Yeah. And that is, it says survey on it, but it's actually a TK20 form. It's not the TK20 survey.
Right.
It's actually the form. Okay, so scroll up to the top. I just want to see what it looks like so I can remember what I'm doing.
It goes along, it looks like it goes along with the application.
Yeah, this is the set. You're right. Yeah, yep. And that was built in their field work binders that we did.
Yes.
And they were to complete that. That's one of the things on why a 178 and a 170 binder was different, because you had your pre and your post.
So the pre went into the
178 and the post went into the 170.
And so it would be 155A also and 155B. So that's why, because it's pre and post.
Yep.
And I think they have to, yeah, because that's one of the things they have to complete in their observation binder, because FAST doesn't come in until later, and FAST only has the tasks, the 2 tasks.
Okay.
So they have to do it in their observation binders.
Okay. So Laura, when you go back into one of those binder test templates, that form should be in one of those binder templates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Okay,
it says survey, but it's not really, it's a form created that we use like a survey. And that, when we run that on the back end for reports, is what the data we upload in on the back end on TK20, which in turn tells us ethnicity and language and all of those other things that we were running for FAST. So go to the binder temp tabs. Oh, wait, there should be something in here too. Okay, click on tabs for me, because there we did a whole tab for that, right? I'm pretty sure, yes. Okay, so that first tab, scroll down or go to next. Yes, so that's where that form is.
Right.
Yep. That's where that's housed.
So how do I get that uploaded into people's
reports? You got to run the report on just that form.
Okay, run the report.
Yeah.
Okay, so then once the report is run, I can use that Excel spreadsheet to upload.
Yeah, and when you're uploading it, you've got to upload it under the pipe delineated, because if you try to upload it as an Excel, then you're gonna it won't work.
Right.
So you look at the old one that I uploaded and just copy how exactly that was written, and you should be able to upload it on the back end of TK20. And that's the same thing with the FAST scores as well. So when you're trying to get it in their grades area, so you're not entering all those one by one, you download the form data, turn it into pipe delineated, and then put it back up onto TK20. And you should be able to access that back end upload off of PeopleSoft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another reason why those binders were 178 and 170 and 155A and 155B.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remind me why I didn't see the binder for 155A with Lin Min?
We're gonna have to play with that, Laura. I'm gonna have to see why. I'd have to go
Okay.
with you to see.
I was thinking maybe I forgot. Okay.
We're gonna definitely have to play with that one and see why you didn't see it.
Okay. Okay.
What's next, guys?
I got a lot of information from you that kind of puts the pieces together for me.
Okay.
So now I feel like we need to play with that information. And up until today, we didn't have any students in there, so it was really hard.
Yeah,
but now the students are there.
Yeah, it's impossible to work into TK20 without data load.
Right.
You can go in, develop, and create, but actually to apply, it's impossible.
Right.
Unless you want to create new people out of nowhere, which would cause data.
Right.
So maybe Laura, you and I can kind of play around with it. You can show me more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then we kind of still list all the questions that we need to ask Andrea.
Okay, go for it. What you got?
No, I mean after Monday. I think.
Oh, okay.
That's all the questions for today. Well, we have some more questions, but again, I mean, the other one is, do we have to use the Excel template that Kathy used in the spring? Did we get that covered?
Yeah, that's where the bulk upload comes into play. So when you're doing that bulk upload, you don't have to use the one she gave you.
Okay.
The one that's on that blue link for TK20.
And did we kind of talk about the try to split multiple subject and single subject binders, right?
To split them?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that
I highly recommend it.
I think that's part of what Laura is dealing with choosing the particular template.
Okay.
Right?
Correct. So what you'll do is you'll go into your binder, look at the overall design, make sure it has the forms that you want in there. Once you get that laid out, when you if you started from the beginning, the first thing they ask you when you create a binder is what template do you want to use? And once you select that template, that's going to justify what your actual bulk upload looks like. So, I say that I want 2 mentor teachers, 1, whatever you decide to build on that end. I would highly recommend staying with 2 coaches because you need that extra person in there just in case somebody drops and you don't want to be transferring data, because if you have to do that, it's no fun either. You can do it, but it's not fun, especially if there's a lot of changes. So that's right where you were, Laura, that right there. So your coaches, so you click on that coach, that's where you're going to decide if you have the right form. That's where you're going to decide if the person that needs to view it can view it. So if you don't want a student seeing something, this is where you can turn it off.
And this has to be checked in order to do that, correct?
That has to be checked because now you're saying you want that form in that binder.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah.
And then we determine whether or not who can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I would do is what I always did was made sure that the student could see the forms, but they couldn't see the double score partner. And you can turn that off when you're going through the binder process, just because that the second holder for the coach, because it confuses the students and it confuses the coaches. Because they're like, well, who's the second person?
Yeah.
It just confuses everybody. So once you figure it all out, then it'll make sense.
For the LRS, I think that's the what? That's the observation. That I think they need.
That was the, like, click on that blue form, or that blue link, Laura, please. It'll give you a good picture.
Yeah, so that's a lesson plan and reflection.
That was the lesson plan, reflection, and signature sheet.
Okay, so they, and that's for each one. And so they have to have 6 formal observations. And so they need, but they need to have probably, so this is the clinical
6.
practice. So they have to have a minimum of 6, but I think what is here is that 7 and 8 if needed, because some of them got more observations.
Correct.
So that's why that they needed to have all of those 1 through 8 in there.
And one of the things to double check on is to make sure that those forms do not have any required uploads.
I didn't find
If there's something in there, remember that red flag?
Right.
Yeah.
That red flag will show up for the student and it'll go, nope, sorry, you haven't turned anything in and you need to upload something and you can't submit your binder. So you have to be very picky on how you use that require button.
Right.
Okay.
You can go through the forms and make sure that that require button is not clicked on some of them if you want.
So is it then some of them can be optional?
Yes. Oh, the form itself has this is a required question. And if it's clicked, then a binder cannot be submitted.
Okay, so, okay.
Yeah, so, and it's by form, not by instance. So if you create a form and then you go, I need 8 of these, and you say, well, 8, I don't want it required, well, then all of it's got to be not required. Because you're doing one form with the different instances of that form. That makes sense.
Yeah. But even if you name them differently? They're still the same form, even if they're named differently.
Correct. If it's an instance, you can name an instance anything that you want. So if you go to forms right now, if you go to the form builder, I'll show you those instances. And just click on a random one. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to see 8 instances of this form.
Right, so this is the same form.
Now scroll down, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. See how there's 8? Exactly. So it's,
but it doesn't say required.
It's a one size fits all. So you got to make sure that make this required is not clicked. And how to do that, Laura, is go to that custom form. And here, don't delete anything. As soon as you delete it, your data is gone.
Right.
On the
I'll
form.
warn you because I've tried to do that before.
Yeah, it's no bueno. It's not a good idea.
No.
So the rule of thumb is don't delete.
Right.
So if you want, like see how it says, is this enforced? Yada, yada, yada. Isn't that on there?
Yeah, right here.
That means
yeah.
It's
but it said no.
So this
right.
And this is the create rubric. And so
this one is not the create. This is actually what the students see when they upload their lesson plans. On the other side is what the coaches see on the create rubric.
But that one, what it listed for them to click on was if the student wanted to specify which create rubric they wanted their coach to do the next time. I think that's what it said.
You are exactly right. That's exactly why that's there.
Yeah.
Is to give the student an option to do that feedback. Yeah,
right.
that should definitely be optional.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yay. It's Friday afternoon. I hope I don't forget by Monday morning.
If not, call me. One way or the other, we'll work it out. We'll
yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so what was the other question?
I know we'll have questions for FAST at a time.
Okay.
I don't want to worry about fast at this point, and I think that it may be once the binders get set, that a lot of the same kinds of, that Laura will figure this out, and so we'll be able to do the fast. But right now, fast binders don't have to go out right away. I mean, it shouldn't be too long, but these binders have to go out.
Right.
Okay.
So
just to send these out is not a problem, but you definitely need to check and make sure your forms are working with you.
Right.
That it's visible to who you need it to be visible to, and what courses you're sending it out to, and how you're developing based on course.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's where a lot of conversations happen with us.
Trang, I think we need Jeannie with us when we do that.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I think we need Jeannie with us when we do that.
When we do which?
When we do binders or when we do fast.
When we do fast, for sure. I don't know about observation binders because I've never used them.
No, observation binders would be your coordinators. Because your coordinators are going to tell you what rubrics they're using. They're going to tell you what the requirements are. They're going to tell you I don't know how things have changed, so I don't know what it looks like. But your coordinators are the ones that should be the main feedback in the binders that are setting out for field work.
Right. Okay, so now the
fast, that's all me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your coordinators are going to find those forms and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they have in the observation binders. I mean, I know a little bit, but I think Janine has a better sense of that.
Okay.
So we need to have her.
Yeah, as to what the requirements are, how many times.
I'll see if
Okay.
So Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because they're all separate, we need multiple subject, single subject, and sped to tell us separately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And so what you can do is all of the forms that are on TK20 right now were developed from when it started. So those forms have been collecting data since we've been using it.
Right.
So if you revert back to the old form that single subject used before the create rubric, that data has been hanging out for 2 semesters.
Okay.
So it's just remember when you create a new one, you're creating new data and you're going to have to create a new way to combine that data. So, yeah, figure out which one you want.
Existing form, or would that mess with the data?
Say that again?
Can you modify an existing original form, or would that mess with the data?
You can, don't delete, but you can add. And whatever you add has to stay.
And I could alter it, right? Like if it's named something, I could change the name. It doesn't affect the data, right?
Not the form name.
No, not the form name.
Right. Well, what'll end up happening is if you change the name on a question, it's going to change the name on the question for the last 3 years. So however long it's been collecting the data. So if there's first name and now you want it to be flipped, now you're going to have first name, last name, and then this year you're going to have first name, last name.
Right. Okay.
And then get kind of wonky. So you have to be really careful.
That makes sense.
Better not to change anything, but to add something if necessary.
Yeah, add is better. Delete is no. Add is okay. Modify, be very careful.
Okay.
Very, very careful.
All right. It's very reassuring to have you explain stuff because I know you know exactly everything.
I gotta remember it though.
Yeah. I'm glad it's still there.
I might have you click around for a while.
Back to your mind.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back soon, Andrea.
Oh, of course. That's what I'm here for. No worries. It's all good. That's what I'm here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Jean and Laura and I would kind of play with it on Monday. Laura, I'm available on Monday. I'm open.
And the coordinators.
Yeah, and the coordinators.
Yeah, so if Cheryl, probably want to talk to Cheryl.
Yeah, I'm Elda. If you want,
I'm available on Monday too.
yeah, you want me to send an invite and we meet at your place, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll do that and we'll get back to with Andrea after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
After we screw it up, we'll call her.
It'll be fine. You guys will be just fine. Don't worry. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't screw up too bad in the fall, so I think we
You're
can
doing all right. Just copy what I did. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. Refer to my notes a lot.
There you go.
Hey, Andrea,
Yes.
it's good to see your face.
Yes.
What? Say that again.
It's good to
It's
see
good.
your face and hear your voice.
I know.
I know, you guys. I miss all of you so much.
Yeah.
I do.
Your happy voice.
Yeah, I have a really cool job right now, though, so I gotta say that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
get to work with fun kids, so.
Awesome.
Visit us, so can we? Will we have a chance to see you again? I mean.
Oh, of course. I just have to find a babysitter.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. And again, you just let me know when you need me. You guys all have my number. Just call me.
Okay.
If there's anything I can do, Laura, on Monday, I'm just trying not to combine two jobs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
after I get off work at 2:45.
Okay, great.
So feel free to call me and say, hey, we got this set up. Does this look right? I will gladly go over it with you. No problem.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Yeah, just whatever you guys need, just let me know, and I'll be there.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
so much. Yeah. Really
All
appreciate
right, guys. We'll see you soon. Okay, we'll
it.
talk to you everybody
See
later.
last weekend. Thank you,
Have
Andrea.
a good weekend.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
So Sheila. Okay, Laura. Everyone left.
Okay, so